All right, let's do section 4.5. This section, we're going to calculate measures of average for given data. And then we're going to learn what those measures of average tell us. We're then going to look at interpreting the mean for grouped data and compute weighted grades. And we'll look at how we can use technology to do this. So what we did so far in chapter 4, in 4.1, we learned about probability, which we then used to help us understand how to get a representative sample from a population. And then we looked at collecting that data from a population and how to organize it in stem and leaf plots and etc. And now we're going to look at calculations of the data. So the first one here is this measure of average. We use other words for this. Measures of average can also be interpreted as central tendency, or the shorthand of them all, the center or middle of the data set. That's what we're talking about here. So I'm just going to give away the whole thing from the beginning. There are, let's see, let me count how many measures our textbook gives us. Number one, there's what we call the arithmetic mean or mean. Number two, there's the median, which we're going to calculate here shortly. Number three, there is the mid-range, which is like the least useful one of them all, but hey, our textbook gives it to us. And then number four, there's a thing called the mode. So by the end of this set of videos, by the end of sections 4 or 5, you should know how to calculate all of these. So let's start with a simple example here. Vandelay Industries is giving out these salaries. And someone found a flyer that said, hey, the average salary at this company or the average employee makes almost $150,000 per year. Awesome. I want to work there too. I don't make that much in my job. So let's do it. Well, someone was cleaning through the trash can, apparently, according to the story, and they found these salaries. Now, if you recognize these names, Jerry, Kramer, Newman, George, Elaine, this is from Seinfeld, apparently. I haven't seen the episode this one's about. But what we want to do is calculate the mean, because that is one of these 4 measures of average. Well, the way you calculate the mean is you add up all the data values. There's that sigma symbol for sum. So we add up them all up and divide by how many. Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 data values here. And we're going to add all 9 of them together and then divide by 9. Now we use the symbol here x bar. X bar is for sample mean, and we'll learn a little bit later that mu is for a population mean if we had a population mean. So for now, don't worry about the symbols too much. Let's just show how we calculate this. So we're going to do the 58,000 plus, you know what, I don't want to write all those zeros, so I'm just going to lop off the zeros and do 58 plus 65 plus 944 plus ... plus 50, and know that all of these numbers are in 50s, or excuse me, in thousands. So whatever answer I get will be in thousands. Now, you can do this in your calculator, but we can also do this in Desmos. And one way to do this in Desmos that's going to be useful later on is to put in these squiggly brackets. If we're looking at a keyboard, they are found right here. This was the squiggly brackets button. I just hit shift the thing next to P, and I'm going to type in these numbers. So 58, 65, 944, 20, 52, 51, 53, 55, and 50. So what I've just told Desmos is that here is a list of numbers or a set of data that we want to work with. And I think we need to call this something, let's say x equals that. And then, okay, so it looks like I'm totally wrong. That Okay, so I went back and did some work and discovered we have to do brackets, square brackets instead of squiggly brackets to input data. And I think I should have not put Yeah, there we go. So we can type in our values like this and then say what's the mean of x equal to? Nope, we can't do that either. Okay, so it turns out you can't use x as a variable. So there's two ways we can do the mean. One way is we could type mean parentheses and then put our data set in there. The other way is to put the brackets as you see here and then choose a letter. I was choosing x before. You should have chosen A. Now notice, remember I took away all the zeros because I didn't want to write them. So our salary here, our mean salary is 149.888 going on forever. If we multiply this times 1,000, we get the exact, or we get the mean that we were looking for. So it was 149,888.88. Oops, and if I round it to the nearest cent, it should be 89. Let me rewrite that. So 149,888.89. So that claim of the average salary being 150,000 isn't exactly correct, right? Because it's the mean was actually 149,888.89. But if we rounded it to the nearest 100,000, we'd get 150,000.